What's up, s'mores? I'm Shannon Morse, and welcome back to day 19 of my 30-day security challenge, where we are protecting your digital life one bite-sized step at a time. Every single day, we are breaking down one concept of online security and privacy to make the process a little bit less stressful and to keep you from burning out. If you are following along, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and if you want to get ahead and do the challenge on your own, you can grab the full 30-day challenge checklist and the notes over at shannonrmorse.com. There's a little link right at the top. All of these videos are also in a playlist, so you can binge watch them from day 1 all the way up through day 30. This episode is sponsored by DeleteMe. Make sure to hit up joindeleteme.com/morsecode for 20% off any of the plans and learn why I paid for this service myself later on in this video. What is a VPN and why should you use one? Today we are talking VPNs, or virtual private networks. A VPN creates a secure tunnel between your device and the internet, encrypting your data as it travels between your computer and the VPN server. This is really important because it protects your online activity from prying eyes like hackers, advertisers, and even your internet service provider, or your ISP. In short, VPNs are really great for privacy, and they can help you keep your data safe from people snooping on you, especially if you are using public Wi-Fi networks like in coffee shops or airports. So why should you use a VPN? Well, there's actually a lot of reasons why people use VPNs. First off is using public Wi-Fi. So first is simply when you use that public Wi-Fi, imagine you're on public Wi-Fi at a coffee shop, for example. An attacker could easily see what you are doing online, especially if they are also hanging out at that coffee shop on the same Wi-Fi network for customers. A VPN encrypts your traffic, making it much harder for anyone to snoop on you while they're on that same network. It can also bypass censorship. If you live in a place where certain websites are blocked, like in a dormitory or an apartment complex with shared internet, or if you travel to a country that has internet restrictions, a VPN lets you access the internet freely. This would have been handy for me back in the day when I was working at a bank and I just wanted to access a forum site, but it was completely blocked. Now I know I shouldn't be browsing on the web while on the clock. I know, bad employee, whatever, but what else was I supposed to do in between customers? There was literally nothing else to do. You can stop ISP snooping. Your ISP, whether that's Comcast or AT&T or whoever it might be, whoever brings internet into your household and you pay for that monthly, they can see everything that you do online. A VPN keeps your activity private by encrypting your traffic so even your ISP cannot see what websites you are visiting. Accessing region-restricted content. For example, do you want to watch Netflix from a different country or access a website that's been blocked in your region? A VPN can make it look like you're actually browsing from a different country even though you're sitting at home in your home environment. Now, security points aside, I often buy anime merchandise from websites in Japan that are region blocked, as in you can only see what's available and in stock if you are online in Japan. I make it look like I'm in Japan so I can shop these sites and bypass those blocks, which not only saves me a ton of money, but it also gives me access to products that are not usually sold here in my own home country. So here's the thing, a VPN is really great for protecting your internet traffic, especially if you are on public Wi-Fi or a shared Wi-Fi hotspot, hiding your IP address, encrypting your connection, and preventing things like your ISP or random people on the same network from snooping on what you are doing online. But a VPN alone does not magically erase your personal information from the internet. You can have the best VPN in the world running 24/7, but if your home address, your phone number, your email address, a list of your relatives, and even old usernames are sitting on dozens of data broker websites, identity thieves can still piece together a very scary amount of information about you. Did you know that identity theft affects millions of people every single year? One major avenue for identity thieves is the massive amount of personal information just floating around online, often collected and sold by data brokers without your knowledge. That is one of the reasons why I use DeleteMe to help protect my privacy. I have personally used DeleteMe for years, and one thing that I really appreciate is that they do the tedious work all that work that I absolutely do not want to spend my weekends doing myself. I don't want to spend my free time doing admin work. I want to play like Claire Obscure in Magic the Gathering and take my dog on hikes and like hang out with my friends at a barbecue, not be on my PC fixing my privacy. Before using the service, I remember searching my own name online and I found old addresses and relatives and a phone number, all kinds of weird data aggregation sites that I never signed up for. It's very unsettling how much information is publicly available. So DeleteMe actively removes your personal data from data broker websites and continuously monitors those sites over time because your information can reappear later on. So instead of manually emailing dozens upon dozens of companies yourself, they handle the removal process for you. In my report, it shows they saved me literally hundreds of hours of work. So for example, this is my May 2026 report. They reviewed over 25,000 listings, they found 21 matches, and they ended up saving me over 300 hours just searching and removing all of that data. Now, from a security standpoint, I also appreciate that DeleteMe employs advanced threat detection tools. They also maintain a dedicated security operations center to monitor and respond to potential security incidents 24/7. So when you are trusting a company with privacy-related services, that level of security commitment matters a lot. So my recommendation is this: think of privacy in layers. A VPN protects your internet traffic, strong passwords and MFA protect your accounts. DeleteMe helps reduce the amount of personal information that's already floating around online. So if you want to take more control over your digital privacy, check out DeleteMe and use the code SNUBS, that's SNUBS, for 20% off your plan. Go to joindeleteme.com/Morse code and use the code SNUBS for 20% off. And huge thank you to DeleteMe for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel. What about VPNs and illegal activities? Now, a common misconception is that VPNs are just for people that are doing shady stuff online, and that's not necessarily true. For example, like I talked about in the past, I recently used a VPN to buy tickets for a museum in Japan. The website blocked international traffic, or they made you go to a reseller site, which doubled or tripled the price of the tickets. So I just connected to a Japanese server through my VPN, and I purchased the tickets without a hitch. VPNs are also super useful for streaming, like if you want to access different Netflix libraries from around the world. There is a problem with free VPNs. This is a big problem though. Free VPNs are not always as free as they seem. A lot of free VPNs make their money by selling your data to third parties like data brokers, showing you ads, or they offer very, very limited data usage, or their speeds are super slow. I tend to steer clear of free VPNs unless I'm using an open source set it up yourself open VPN or Wireguard protocol, which is always a possibility. Since this is not a 30-day security challenge for folks that are using everything that I'm talking about already, I'm gonna skip the Wireguard set it up yourself option in this video, and I will go straight to the more convenient plug and play apps instead, which are more consumer friendly. Each of the ones that I use cost a little bit of money, but they also offer better security and enough convenience to not put a damper on regular browsing. Now, I do not recommend using free VPNs unless you trust the provider fully, and even then, it's gonna be a gamble. You wanna make sure that your VPN is not logging your personal data, and many free options just are not transparent about this. If you are serious about your privacy, it is worth paying for a reliable VPN or just building it yourself. So, choosing the right VPN for you. When choosing a VPN, here's what I recommend that you look for. First off would be cross-platform support. Make sure your VPN works on all your devices like computers, smartphones, and tablets. Number two is clear pricing. VPNs usually have a subscription model, so look for one that offers great privacy and works on multiple devices at once. Number three is exit nodes. Check if the VPN offers exit nodes in the regions that you need. For example, I needed access to a Japanese website, so I looked for a VPN with with Japanese exit notes. And then number 4, logging policies. Always check a VPN's logging policies. You want one that does not store your browsing data, and a trustworthy VPN provider should have a no log policy. Number 5, will it actually work? Some sites block certain VPNs. When VPNs get super popular, they end up getting blocked by a bunch of different website providers, or it may not be available in your country at all. If you can sign up for a trial before dedicating your payment to a specific provider, it may be worth it to test out a few different ones. And also, I know some folks will mention this in the comment section. I know that VPNs are not necessarily legal in all jurisdictions and all regions and countries. So definitely make sure to check your own local regulations before you choose to try to download a VPN, because it might be illegal wherever you are visiting or wherever you live. Just keep that in mind. Also, just because a VPN says that they are no log does not necessarily mean that they will never experience a security vulnerability or a breach. How they respond to those kind of breaches, if anything was to happen in the future, is going to make or break whether you choose to put your money towards that VPN. So definitely make sure to check if they do things like third-party audits and see if they've had any vulnerabilities in the past as well. Now, back in the day, there was a website that had a huge list of VPNs with privacy details about each one. They sold out, unfortunately, so in my research, I found a new updated spreadsheet over on r/VPN listing out all the popular consumer options on the market that you'd most commonly see. This is a great starting point, but I would still recommend choosing one based on what you need, not based on a rating created by another person, especially if there is some kind of bias involved there in terms of referral links or signups or some kind of consumer refund if you also sign up your friends. There's a lot of websites that do that, so just keep that in mind. Their criteria might not exactly match what you need. Now, a lot of people always ask me what my favorite VPNs are. I'm often asked about this by everybody from my friends and family and people online as well. And while I do prefer the DIY option, I also know that most folks want something that's just unmanaged that they can just download and use. Especially for my friends that don't work in tech, they may not necessarily have the time to set up their own managed server or their own managed VPN. People just want something that is plug and play. So my favorites are changing all the time based on vulnerability disclosures, new technology, audit announcements. So I will notate some of the ones that I'm currently using down below and whether or not I can get y'all a discount on them. None of these are sponsors, by the way. They are services that I have paid for myself as a customer, and I reached out to these personally to see if I could get my audience a deal. Because if you're like me, I like couponing, okay? I don't like paying full price for anything, so if I can get you a deal, I'll get you a deal. So, the downsides of VPNs. Now, before you get started, keep in mind that VPNs can slow down your internet speed, your traffic, especially if you are using a far away server. Also, no VPN is 100% foolproof. It really depends on who you trust with your data, and it's important to choose a reliable service, like I'd mentioned previously. Most VPNs are fairly reasonably priced, so if you try one that you do not like, or it doesn't fit your needs, there is no downside to switching. Obviously, there are tons of other VPNs out there, so choosing which one is best for you will be a personal choice. So I'm not going to go as far as to say the ones that I use are perfect for you, use those. Make your own choice on a VPN, but first and foremost, make sure to do research on the one that you choose. And with that, day 19 is now complete. Day 20 is all about cleaning up your friends list because yes, just a friends list can be a vulnerability. But first, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and hit up shannonrmorse.com for the downloadable checklist and to skip ahead on the 30-day security challenge. You can actually see on my list over on my website what episodes I'm including in this series, so you can kind of see into the future for my YouTube channel. Again, I'm Shannon Morse, and I will see you for day 20. Bye, y'all.